How to stop a dog barking at other dogs. Barking is a natural behavior for dogs, so if your dog just barks occasionally to greet his friends, you shouldn't worry about trying to make him stop. But if you can't make it down the street without your dog barking at every pup you pass, then you might want to consider management or training. 1. Determine the cause of your dog's barking. Before you try to stop your dog's barking, you should try to figure out why he's barking, if it's territorial behavior, reactivity, excitement or another reason. Knowing your dog's triggers will allow you to avoid them or train your dog to ignore them. 2. Stay calm. Dogs can easily pick up on our emotions, so if you get stressed out when your dog starts to bark, your dog will get even more anxious, hyper or afraid, which could cause him to bark even more. So practice staying calm as soon as your dog starts barking. 3. Teach your dog to bark on cue. You can also teach your dog to bark only when you want him to. Hartstein said another way is to teach your dog to bark, and then teach them to be quiet. To start, teach your dog the quiet command. If your dog barks when another dog walks by the house, you can let him bark a few times, then tell him quiet, and give him a treat when he stops barking. This should teach him not to bark excessively and to be quiet when you tell him to. 4. Obedience training. If your dog barks at other pups, you can work on his obedience training with commands like sit, stay and heel. The heel command can be helpful on walks so your pup knows they needs to stay by your side as you pass the other dog, rather than trying to run up to him. Teaching commands like place, teaching your dog to go to his spot, like his bed, can also be helpful for dogs who bark territorially in the house. If your dog is barking at other dogs walking by the house, you can tell him to go to his spot, ideally, not by a window. And a trainer can help with this type of training as well. 5. Keep your dog inside when you're not home. If your dog is able to bark at dogs when you're not home, it will strengthen the behavior. So to stop territorial barking, keep him inside the house with the windows covered when you're not around. 6. Manage reactivity. If your dog's reactive, it may help to work with a trainer or dog behavior expert, to teach your dog to be less reactive. Here are some ways to help manage reactivity include: removing yourself and your dog from the area when you see another dog, even if your dog hasn't spotted him yet, by crossing the street, turning around, etc. Figuring out what your dog's triggers are and trying to minimize or avoid them. If it's one specific dog he doesn't like, if he barks during one part of your walk, etc. Using a harness so you'll have better control if your dog pulls on the leash. 7. Use counter-conditioning and desensitization. When your dog starts barking, give him treats. This is called classical conditioning. Your dog will learn to associate his stress or fear triggers with something good like, and eventually he'll react positively. Desensitization is exposing your dog to his triggers in relatively safe environments so he'll have little to no response, and he'll eventually become less reactive over time. So this might mean inviting a neighborhood friend and their dog over for walks around the block together. Just make sure to introduce them slowly and in a neutral environment, like the dog park. 7. Don't punish your dog. Barking's a natural behavior for dogs, so you shouldn't punish your dog for barking, especially if he's barking out of stress or fear. This could also make him bark more, as he could become even more scared or stressed out. If your dog only barks every now and then when he sees his friends, he's probably just trying to talk to them, and you shouldn't worry. But if your pup's an excessive barker, some training, management and lots of patience can go a long way. Please subscribe to our channel for more dog-related videos.